Hey all, here today with another tip on how to make your code presentations look better when using Keynote. Oftentimes I see speakers show some code like this, and they want to dive into some specific part of it. Say maybe the is unhealthy function that we are invoking here. And what they often do is they simply jump to the next slide with no transition at all. This, unfortunately, however, is kind of hard to follow, right? As someone in the audience, you have to mentally figure out how does this slide map to the previous slide, which unfortunately distracts you from the presentation at hand. And so today, I want to talk about how to dive into functions so that your audience can follow along. And we're going to do this using some cool animations in Keynote again. So if we take our code snippet that we just showed, the effect that we're going to be building is going to look like this. It's pretty easy to follow, right? Essentially, we're just taking the name of the function that's in common on both sides and then animating it between one and the other. And it works in both directions. It's pretty cool, right? However, it's not as straightforward to implement as you might hope. So let's jump into it. So the first thing we need to do is take our two slides, like so, that have no transitions, no animations applied to them. And we take that first slide and the code snippet and we duplicate it. Make sure it's lined up with the original so it doesn't look like there's a duplicate there. And then you're going to delete everything from the duplicate other than what you want animated. Now, because it's code, it should be in a monospace font, which means that we can actually just insert a bunch of spaces until it then realigns with the original bit of text. Pretty cool, right? And then what that means is we can actually just add a build out animation to the original code snippet. I usually use dissolve, set it to something like 0.5, and what happens is when that runs, we'll be left with just the bit of text that we want to animate between slides. And so at that point, what you can do is add a transition of magic move, set it to match by word, and then set it to a reasonable duration, say 1 second, and then preview that, and voila. Now there's one other thing that we need to do first though, is for this magic move, we want it to happen right after the other build out animation happens. So we want this transition to start automatically, and usually a delay of 0. And so with that in place, we give it a quick save, and then let's preview it. We have our code snippet, and then we advance, fades out, animates over. Awesome. I find that this technique makes it really easy for your audience to follow along with where you are in the code and how you're transitioning from one bit of code to the next. And when you combine this with the technique that I showed in an earlier video of how to build up those animations over time, it makes it super easy for your audience to follow along with what you're talking about. So I hope that you can apply these techniques and make your slides even better and more impactful for your audience in your future talks. Thanks for watching.